Okay, yeah, so boom. This is the dialysis machine. I have a bag of dialysate at the top because after I finish the machine, I usually set a new one so that I could use it for the next day. It takes about 7.5 hours to make. And for those that don't know what dialysate is, it's the solution that goes into your body to filter out the blood. So when it comes to dialysis, you have to be antiseptic. So, we got to sanitize a lot, put our gloves on, and what I'm going to do is grab this thing called the cartridge. This cartridge is a piece that goes into the machine. It has the tubing and stuff on it. So the tubing is what takes the blood out of my body and brings it into that filter. That filter is like my artificial kidney. So it filters out the blood with the dialysate and it sends the blood back into my body. But what I'm going to do is set up this cartridge for it to get primed because priming is the process of taking air out of these tubes. So, I put it in the machine. That's going to take like about 20 minutes. I have to add the bag of saline to it. So I got to stand up real quick. So now that the cartridge is in the machine, I have to connect the air pressure to the side of it. It monitors the pressure of the blood going into my arm. So if I see that the pressure is low or if it's high, I know if something is wrong. And the machine also alarms if it senses some pressure issues. Right now, I'm connecting the saline bag, which again is salt water. It goes into the tube, takes out the air. It got a little bit tangled here, but sometimes that happens. But we usually untangle it quick and fast. Now, now I'm just connecting it to the saline bag. There you go. Yeah. So you don't want no air in the tube because if there's any air in the tube, that means there's going to be air in your access, meaning that you could get blood clots. And, as you know, blood clots are very deadly. So you have to be careful. Make sure there's no air in those tubes. So while the machine is priming, I'm going to go ahead and set up my area, clean up. I use the bag from the cartridge as a little, small garbage bag. Let me just throw everything away. I like to tape this to the side of the table because easy access and it does get messy with all the wrappings and all those little extra plastic pieces. So I'll go ahead and tape that right there and keep it right next to me. Yeah, now my area is clean. Put down my chuck and I'm taking out my alcohol. Everything that I need to put these needles in my arm. I make sure I put the tape there. I'm just taking out everything needed for me to go ahead and cancellate the arm. Cancellate meaning I'm gonna put the needles in my arm. Um, get everything going. There you go. You have to clean everything. Make sure everything's clean. With the alcohol, right now I'm drawing some heparin. Heparin is the blood thinner because you need to thin out the blood so that it doesn't clot in the machine. So I'll draw my dose of heparin and I have that there ready waiting for me for when I'm ready to cancellate. So I could just throw it in my arm when I'm done. Yep. Then you unscrew it. That needle, sometimes it could be a little headache, but put it in there. Go ahead and get a small 2x2 gauze, and I like to fold this thing up with the accept. Accept is to clean the arm and stuff like that. After I open it up, yeah, there you go. After I throw it in there, it gets a little bit moist with it, and I put it down, and that's while I'm waiting for the machine to prime. I get all of this done and out the way while the machine is priming, because as soon as it's done priming, I'm jumping right on the machine. That's that. So now that it's done priming, I'll go ahead and do something called a snap and tap. The snap and tap is to get those little tiny air bubbles out of the machine because sometimes there's little air bubbles. And again, air is no good. So let me go ahead and sanitize. And after I sanitize, I'm throw my gloves on. Yep. Always sanitize and always glove. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to do this a lot because again, antiseptic. You gotta always be clean. You have to be especially clean when it comes to dialysis because infection is crazy, and you could possibly lose your arm when you have an infection in your dialysis. So I'm snapping the lines and I'm shaking and I'm tapping that filter, making sure that there's no air bubbles, no air, no small little micro bubbles inside of it because those micro bubbles could be deadly too. So I'm making sure there's no air whatsoever. We don't want no air. So we're snapping. Then now we stop and we're getting ready to make our connections because that's the next step. We have to connect. So the numbers that you're seeing on the screen right there are the prescription that my doctors gave me. Um, Also my weight. So I got control of the ounces that I want to take off, which is in kilogram. So let's say 3 kilograms, I'm taking off 6.6 pounds. Just crazy. So I lose weight every time I get on this machine, which I love, by the way. So I'm connecting to the dialysate. The dialysate is about 60 liters, and it's 60 liters because I'm a heavy set person, so I need that much liters to clean me out. Somebody smaller than me would use like 30 liters, but because I'm so big, I have to use 60. So I made my connections. I'm getting this one together. I'm putting it up here, and I'm keeping it there for now. And then now I got to get my drain line. The drain line is yellow. Why? Because it's pee. It's all the toxins that's in my body. Basically, pee. When you're on dialysis, you can't really urinate like that. So you need the machine to take out the fluid. So yeah, nasty. So I changed the gloves again because, I touched the drain line, which, like I said, is pee-pee. And I start to prepare for ventilation. So what I do is I do the buttonhole method. The buttonhole method is when you pick the scab of the same area that you put the needle in. You keep using that same area to put the needle because you don't want something called infiltration, which is when you put the needle in the wrong area and you miss the access site. So your arm becomes swollen with blood. So to avoid that, we do the buttonhole method. And, I'm here just cleaning, making sure everything's antiseptic and clean because, again, you don't want any infection. And look how big those needles are, man. It's crazy. Again, clean with the swab. You see what I'm saying? Because, again, no infection. No infection whatsoever over here, you heard? Gotta clean that up. It's a dub for infection. I've been on dialysis 6 years and I never caught an infection. And I know people that have been on it for 1 year and caught an infection. It's crazy. So I picked the scab already and I cleaned the area. So I'm throwing the needle in. And it doesn't really hurt like that. People ask me if it hurt all the time, but because it's the buttonhole, it doesn't really hurt. Sometimes I get a stinging feeling, but that's just nerve damage and everything like that. But it doesn't hurt at all. So I'm just taping it down to secure it because you have to secure the needle inside the arm with the tape. The tape is so important, yo. If you don't have it taped on properly, it could pull out of your arm and blood could get everywhere. And you could lose a lot of blood, yo. A lot of blood. And it happened to me before in the center, which was crazy, but, you know, that's why I'm doing it at home. It's way better for me at home anyway. I have control of how I put my tape and how I secure my arm. And I'm just taping down the second one right now. Patting it up now. And then securing it with the wraparound. Right. And then now I'm just making sure that there's blood flow. And the blood flow is flowing good. So that's always a great sign. Then now I'm putting the heparin in it, and the heparin is a blood thinner, and I need the blood thinner to go inside the arm of the venous so that when it goes to the machine, it doesn't clot. So you always have to put heparin when you're on dialysis. You don't want your blood to clot because you will end up losing a lot of blood as well. And then I'm just checking the blood flow of the arterial because I want to make sure that that's good and flowing well. Now it's time for me to make my connections. I'm about to connect to the arterial. The arterial is basically the dirty blood, and I like to call it hell because it's red, and then blue, I call it heaven because, it's blue. So I'm connecting the arterial, and I'm going to connect the blue, making sure that they're running good. And then I'm going to set my machine. I started the machine, and that's it. Blood is flowing, and I'm on dialysis. I'm doing dialysis, and that's how that works. The dirty blood goes in, and then the clean blood comes through the venous. And once the clean blood comes to the venous, then that means that everything is going smooth. And I sit here for about 3.5 hours, and I chill. I play video games, check my blood pressure here and there, and, just vibe out until my time is done. Yeah, that's how I do dialysis.